the bipod is not a luxury. Because it is automatic, the recoil is so intense that using a bipod is essential. Still, the LMG is not a very accurate weapon and is meant to suppress enemy fire versus actually directly targeting enemy forces. Compared to other modern machine guns, it is also too long, measuring over 1200 millimeters and difficult to run and set a target with. In a conventional military engagement where an infantry unit can actually provide cover for a machine gunner as he sets up his bulky weapon for combat, the deployment of the LMG makes sense. But in Fateh and Swat, where the action is swift and sudden, the LMG is dated technology. However, it is mounted on vehicles in military convoys, but again as a fire suppressor, not a precise killer. The LMG also has a special designation. In an infantry unit, the LMG is classified as a section weapon. The section is the lowest division of any unit. Here's the map. Every infantry unit, which is commanded by a lieutenant colonel, is made up of a few companies. These companies are almost always headed by majors and number around 115 men. Then, each company is divided into platoons, usually commanded by a captain or a senior lieutenant, and consist of around 30 to 36 men. And the last division is that of a section, the basic fighting cell of an infantry unit. A section can be commanded by a senior non-commissioned officer and usually has between 9 and 13 soldiers. Not everyone gets the privilege or the arduous responsibility of handling the LMG. During training exercises, instructors usually assign the LMG to the most junior or overweight man in the section to carry around. But in war, the LMG is only handled by one of the steadiest hands to warfare. In fact, weaponry along with tactics is the key to deciding the winning army as well. Is besides using 9 millimeter, when using this, is short of his superior officer telling him to pull the safety off, is smooth, so there's no collateral damage. If you are in a built-up area, you probably want this weapon as close and as close. So in case a weapon misfires, it's going to has the capability to knock out an enemy at around 300 meters. Same rule with the trigger finger. Same rule because it has more weight. The center of fire is even more. Then there's this gap. It's destruction made of, if your hand gets stuck here, always goes on this side. The bolt mechanism is on the right side of you. Why? Because you probably want the weapon to be more accurate. So when you're firing this rather heavy weapon, it's almost 30 kilos. When you're carrying this weapon, you want to be safe as well. So this is how you carry it. Into battle, you could walk for a day, 2 days, 10 days. But if you're walking, this is how you would do it. Why? Because your shoulder is taking the weight, not you. That's another safety feature. And the machine gun. This one's with the tripod. Can do a lot of damage. An all-out machine gun. Similar features to the MG3, but a couple of important elements added to it. Firstly, the target sight. This target sight gives you more accuracy. Why? Because this is for in case of an aerial assault. You don't want to spray bullets here and there. Secondly, when you're working in a crowded area, you can set your rate of fire. First of all, you can use this elevation mechanism to figure out how exactly you want to tilt your fire. Secondly, you can use the traversing mechanism to figure out your spectrum of fire. You can actually set your machine gun so that it'll, in case it's firing, it'll only move within these settings. So that's the bottom line. Safety and not just security as far as weaponry is concerned, because they have a dual purpose. That's key. That's safety. In this week's episode of We Are Soldiers, you were introduced to the operational functioning of the Army, Pakistan's largest armed force. You were shown the basics about the arms that make up this force and saw how the largest arm, the infantry, physically prepares for the rigors of battle and conducts weapons training. Next week, you will see more of the infantry.
soldiers from across the country will engage in simulated major and minor operations of war. You will also get an insight into how new weapons are evolving the infantry's structure and how new threats are reshaping the infantry's tactics and techniques. All of that is next week as the Queen of Battle continues. Thanks for watching. We are soldiers.
I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. I got soul.